Hello, YouTube. Well, it's a rainy day here in southwest Wisconsin. We are dealing with the remnants of Tropical Storm Cristobal. Yeah, we don't get those things very often up here in my neck of the woods, but it's just we're dealing with some rain. It hasn't been that bad. I got like 1.75 inches overnight, and it's raining again now, but I think other places are getting hit with more rain than I am. But the farming has kind of come to a halt while we wait for this thing to blow through. And I'm in the old garage here right now. So today's video will be a little bit, have a little different content than what I usually post. I know my last video, I promised a story about this car here that's in my garage if someone guessed what it is. And so someone did, so I guess I'll have to keep my promise. So as someone guessed, this is a 1979 Ford Fairmont, or Ford Fairmont / Mercury Zephyr. They were the same cars. The only difference was the grille and tail lights. This one actually has the Mercury Zephyr tail lights and grille in it because well, they were a little bit better looking. These are a Fox chassis car. These were the same chassis as the 1979 through 1993 Mustangs. The only difference is the wheelbase is a little bit longer, but otherwise, just about every suspension component will interchange with the Mustang. The dash is the same dash as the Mustangs of that year. All the rear end, there's just about all the Mustang parts from that era will fit on this. This car I built for my uncle back almost 30 years ago, back in the early 1990s. My uncle, of course, I was a pretty heavy gearhead, and my uncle was a long-time gearhead too, and he wanted to build a car. He had he had a good job. His house was paid for. He wanted to put some money into something that he really wanted, and his inspiration for this project was an article in CarCraft magazine back in the late 1980s, around 1990. They had built a Fairmont like this, kind of like this, but they had built a Fairmont with a big block in it, and so yeah, this has a big block. So there it is. Yeah, I built this engine for him. It's a 30 thousandths over 460. It's a 466 cubic inch big block Ford. It's got a cam in it that all I remember, it's a crane cam. I ported the heads mildly. It's got a Edelbrock Performer intake, 800 Holley 4-barrel on it. It's got the it has engine swap headers. Of course, back in the early 1990s, there wasn't nearly as much stuff available as there is now. We got the headers, the engine mount adapters, and the stator shield. This is a stick shift car. Got the stator shield from a company in California. Actually, the company that provided the parts for the car that was in the CarCraft article. So yeah, this build was, when I built this car, I spent about a year on this. We took it clear down to the bare chassis. It has a Currie custom-built 9-inch rear end. Upper and lower control arms are custom units. The front suspension is custom. Of course, the rear springs. The front and rear springs are custom built. There was quite a bit of Mustang parts, suspension parts available, so that helped. Since this is a longer wheelbase, I fabricated the subframe connectors. Unfortunately, the dryer sheets that I put in here haven't kept the mice out of it, but my uncle built the dash. My uncle and I guess he did all the cutting of the dash and made everything so it would fit. And these are all autometer gauges. I installed it and hooked everything up. It has a Richmond 5-speed aftermarket transmission in it. Oh, let's see. There's almost too much to to talk about. Besides, it was 30 years ago when I built this. At any rate, my uncle unfortunately passed away about 12 years ago from esophageal cancer, and when he passed away, the car ended up coming back to me. And I have driven it around some, but right now I haven't. It hasn't been out of the garage for about 4 years. You can see it was easier for me to put it on some dollies to move it back and forth in the garage here than to actually start it up again. But it, of course, yeah, it's beastly powerful. It's pretty fast. I've done some drag racing, and I would, just from the way this thing feels, I would say it would run solid 11s without too much trouble. But I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this thing. It's I know I built it, but it's to me it still feels like my uncle's car. It was kind of his dream, his vision, and it just doesn't feel like my car to me. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel like getting it going, loading it up on the trailer, and taking it to a custom car auction and selling it. Sometimes I feel like taking it apart and putting it together more the way I want it. I guess if I were going to do anything with it, I would probably pull the 460 out and put a 5-liter in it. Of course, keep the 5-speed transmission because I really like the feel of that. This back in the 1970s, I had both a GTO and my Chevy pickup that both had Muncie 4-speeds with Hurst shifters in it. And if any of you have ever driven those, they feel a lot different than the newer transmissions with the internal shift rails. But anyway, the good thing is I don't have to do anything with it yet. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. The tires on the thing are probably at least 15 years old. They're probably not safe to drive on anymore anyway. So I don't know. Someday maybe I'll do something with this thing. But anyway, that's the story behind this. Maybe I will. I'll throw on some pictures of this thing from back when it was out and about and looking a little better back in the day, and maybe I'll throw on some pictures of some of my other big gearhead drag racing adventures from back in the day. So at any rate, that's kind of most of the story behind this car. So hopefully when the rain stops, we'll get back at the farming. So until then, everyone stay safe, and we'll see you later.